Hola everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince. Welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. What does everyone know about a certain director named Guillermo Del Toro? Well, Del Toro is a Mexican film director, screenwriter, and producer and novelist who's famous for such films as Blade 2, the Hellboy films, even most recently Pacific Rim. Also, not many people know that he's also been helping with certain films such as Mama, Puss in Boots, Kung Fu Panda 2, even Megamind. But however, today's subject is going to be one of his own direct films that he's directed, which not only blew me away, but also was a really surprising movie. And was also a really epic dark fantasy masterpiece as well. Released on December 29th, 2006, the movie is Pan's Labyrinth. Now this blog is going to be a little different from how I mostly do blogs. So, for this one I'm going to be reading from a cultural film response that I've written a couple semesters ago. So, let's get on with it. The story takes place in Spain in May through June 1944, 5 years after the Spanish Civil War. During the early Francoist period, the narrative of this film intervenes this real world with a fantasy world centered on an overgrown abandoned labyrinth and a mysterious fallen creature, with which the main character, Ophelia, interacts with. Ophelia's stepfather, the foul against Captain Vidal and, well, easy to spot, villain of the film, hunts the Spanish Marquis who fights against the Francoist regime in the region. While Ophelia's pregnant mother grows increasingly ill and dies giving birth to a son, Ophelia meets several strange, eccentric, and magical creatures who become central to her story, leading her through tough trials of the odd labyrinth garden. Now there are a few concepts that are included in this film. There are collectivism, which means no one is allowed, the we identity, individual freedom, large power distance, which is unequal power distribution, and hierarchical rights, rewards, punishments based on age, rank, status, title, and seniority. Lastly, there's also identity function meaning, which means who am I in this world, and finding out what your role is in life. Now let's start with the collectivism part of the movie, which happens to be focusing on Captain Vidal. He is Ophelia's stepfather and the son of a famed commander who died in Morocco. He believes strongly in Falangism and was assigned to root out any anti-Franco rebels. As the war in this film progresses, Vidal becomes increasingly vicious and power-hungry that he starts to think that he owns everything, even his own pregnant wife, stepdaughter, and newborn son. In the film, Vidal does all sorts of nasty things when his cruel and sociopathic nature is revealed. He brutally murders 2 individuals who have been detained on suspicion of being rebel allies and who may merely have been farmers all along. Also, he tortures a captured rebel and kills the doctor who euthanized the tortured prisoner to stop his pain. Vidal also catches Ophelia tending to a mandrake root underneath Carmen's bed. Vidal also discovers that Mercedes is a spy, and he captures her and Ophelia as they attempt to escape, and locks Ophelia in her bedroom. And Mercedes is also being taken to be tortured, and when he corners Ophelia in the hedge maze with her baby brother, he shoots her. The main heroine, Ophelia, is what the identity function meaning focuses on throughout this movie. Ophelia is a young 10-year-old child who loves fairy tales, but is troubled with her real father's death, and she's also worried for her mother, Carmen, while she's pregnant, and is also afraid of her stepfather, Vidal. Soon, Ophelia discovers some kind of insect that can change into a fairy, and leads her through an ancient labyrinth. There, Ophelia meets a faun who believes her to be Princess Moana and gives her 3 tasks. The first one, to get a key from a giant toad. Ugh, that scene was so disgusting. The second task was to get a dagger from the Pale Man's table without eating anything from it. And the third task was to sacrifice innocent blood. All 3 of these tasks had to be completed before the full moon to ensure that her essence was intact. Now, what did my friends and I think of this movie? Well, at first I feared for the moment that I would ever watch it because I thought the movie was going to be gory, but it hardly wasn't. The film was dark, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. The story was very well done and imaginative, even clever to mix fantasy with an event that actually happened in the early 40s. The characters were a bit memorable, like Ophelia, Mercedes, Captain Vidal, and Carmen, along with the creatures like the faun, the pale man, the fairies, the giant toad, even the mandrake were freaky looking and scary. However, in my opinion, it is distracting when you watch a movie that is filmed in a Spanish language and you also read the English subtitles underneath. So it's kind of hard to focus on it. The major cultural differences between the characters in the movie and myself is that I'm a bit autistic, and Ophelia is some parts a warrior because of how she feels for her mother and newborn brother. I sometimes worry about my other relatives as well. In other parts of the film, Ophelia reflects on how happy she was before her real father passed away. And I can sometimes remember my late grandparents and what great people they were. Ophelia is even a fairy tale believer like I can sometimes be, and I'm also working on my own kind of fairy tale at the moment. Vidal, on the other hand, has that kind of behavior that I don't quite feel comfortable around. He uses the "I'm in charge, do what I say" kind of stuff and acts like a bully and a spoiled kid to the opposing army in the movie. And from how he treats Ophelia is very, very abusive. Mercedes is as clever a character as I am. When you first see Mercedes, she works as a right hand to Captain Vidal, but by the middle of the film, she's revealed to be a spy to the other army, and as a supporting character who wants to help Ophelia. It's kind of like what I would do to help somebody in trouble due to my work with the Boy Scouts of America of Troop 604. The themes that Pan's Labyrinth contains is not that much similar to what I've been through in my life, but so far, there were some abusive behaviors that I've seen in the film on how Vidal treats everyone, including Ophelia. I mean, I've been abused several times a lot as a child. And during the scene when Ophelia was told that she was destined to be the princess from another world, it almost makes me remember the times that I felt that I was destined to do great things for everybody. Now, I want to talk about one little bit of trivia about one certain actor in this film. And that person is Doug Jones, who in this film plays the faun and the pale man. As the faun, Jones guides Ophelia to the fantasy world, and as the pale man, he plays a grotesque monster with an appetite for children. Jones had previously worked with Del Toro on films like Mimic and the Hellboy films, and said the director sent him an email saying, "You must be in this film. No one else can play this part but you." Jones responded enthusiastically to an English translation of the script, but then found out that the film was in Spanish, which he does not speak. Jones says that he was terrified, and Del Toro suggested learning the script phonetically, but Jones rejected this. Preferringly to learn the words himself, he said, "I really buckled down and committed myself to learning that word for word, and I got the pronunciation semi-right before I even went in." Using the 5 hours a day, he spent getting costumed and makeup on to practice the words. Del Toro later decided to dub Jones with the voice of Pablo Adien, an authoritative theater actor. But Jones's efforts remained valuable because the voice actor was able to match his delivery with Jones's mouth movements. And now to finally move on to my final words of this film. Overall, Pan's Labyrinth is truly an imaginative masterpiece. And I say well done to Guillermo Del Toro for making this film. Even though I do wish it could have been done in English audio, the film was really well. It was dark, it was kind of violent, and it was very imaginative. However, I wouldn't recommend young kids seeing this due to its R ratings. But I'm sure that even if you are old enough to see a film like this, you'll be really astounded by it. I would probably give this film a rating of 100%. Yeah, that should do it. So, another episode of Mustang Prince Oral Reports comes to an end. But wait a minute. I wonder... I just finished my next... I think my next episode should be something for Mother's Day. Oh man, what am I gonna do for that? Oh man. Please be sure to join me for my Mother's Day episode. Hopefully by then I'll find something to blog. Mustang Power!